Good morning, Year 7. So I thought I'd do a little recording for you just because this is quite a complicated lesson and to make it hopefully a little bit clearer for you to understand. So we're going to look at a guy called Martin Luther. Now, Martin Luther was a German priest and really one of the most important people in history. Now, you probably heard that name, Martin Luther, before. And actually, a lot of people get confused because obviously Martin Luther King, totally different person, different time. You know, he was from America, was interested in civil rights for black people. Martin Luther was really all about religion. So I think one of the last things we were doing in school was making our board game about the church, and really he's kind of related to that. So you have to remember, this was a time when, you know, people genuinely believed the earth was flat, and if you sailed west of Britain and kept going from Plymouth, that your ship would kind of fall off some kind of weird kind of waterfall, huge waterfall. And obviously, you know, the earth is the centre of the universe. And, you know, if you look up into the sky, the sun moves from east to west. And it's actually hard to understand that we are actually the thing that is moving in our solar system around the sun. So if you'd have come up with these ideas back in the time that we're looking at, people would have thought you're crazy. So Martin Luther came up with some new ideas, and people really didn't like him because of these new ideas. So let's remind ourselves, what did people believe at the start of the 16th century? Well, heaven and hell, as we looked at previously. And so the idea was, if you died with a dirty soul, you'd go to purgatory or you go straight down to hell. And the idea was the church could help cleanse your soul, enable you to go to heaven. And if you died with a clean soul, then you'd go to heaven. So it's all these ideas. So how could you do that? Well, for example, you could go on a crusade or a pilgrimage to a holy place. So some of the things we had in our board game to get out of purgatory. You could buy, and the key word there is buy, a special letter from the Pope called an indulgence, which is a bit like a get out of jail free card. So Martin Luther really was a priest, a Catholic. He could read various languages, and obviously one of the main jobs of priests at this time was to translate the Bible into different languages. So he's pretty much spent a lot of his life kind of translating Bible, sitting at a desk. You know what it's like when there's an assembly, or you know, you're working in lessons, your kind of mind drifts, and sometimes Martin Luther's mind drifted quite a lot. And he realised that when he was comparing the Latin Bible to some of the other Bibles in different languages, that sometimes it had been incorrectly translated. And so he hung his research on the church, famously 95 things that he disagreed with the church about, and he called these the 95 Theses. And really, he's famous for starting what is known today as the Protestant religion, i.e. the Church of England. And it's called the Protestant religion because he protested against the Catholic Church. So what did he believe? So, personally, you didn't have to go to church to get your soul cleaned. That you could pray at home in your own house. Actually, it was wrong that the church was making money from selling indulgences. He didn't believe in that at all. He believed that the Bible should be in your own language, like English or French or Spanish, and not in Latin, which only priests could read at the time. And it's wrong to make an image of God. And the church was far too powerful. You know, why was it accepting money from very, very poor people when they themselves are so incredibly wealthy? So he believed that Protestant churches, so he had a new prayer book, he believed services in English, he allowed priests to marry, any expensive decorations like stained glass windows, gold statues, etc., you know, they should be given back to the poor, and why should we have them in the churches? So those kind of wooden benches you have come from these ideas of Martin Luther. So this is quite complicated. I want you to read through the worksheet, answer the 6 questions as well as you can. And I've also just put a very quick Google Doc on there as well. If you can do that, because then I know you kind of looked at the work, it will just be 5 questions. So hopefully you found this helpful. Any queries, just let me know, email me. Thank you.